Hello everyone. To get back to you about what was really causing my wheezing, I made a video about my ER visit, and that visit ended up being very traumatic for me because the nurse and the doctor and the person I brought with me was not believing what I was saying. And one of the things that really upset me is that they kept telling me that I was causing the wheezing. So I was having a hard time breathing, and I was told over and over that I was doing it to myself.
This sums up pretty well how I was treated by the ER staff and my loved one that went along with me.
So anyway, I wanted to let you know what it was. I went to a naturopath. She muscle tested me and found out I have a hiatal hernia. So what that is on the day that I had thrown up and something got stuck in my airway, the force of my stomach to get rid of whatever was in my stomach was so strong that part of my stomach went through the opening in my diaphragm and was sitting on top of my diaphragm. And so when I was trying to breathe, I was gasping for air.
Here is the front view of a normal digestive system. Here is the stomach and the diaphragm, which lifts the lungs. What would happen if a portion of the stomach was sitting on top of the diaphragm? It would be difficult to take a deep breath, that's for sure. Here's another view.
So I wasn't doing that myself. I knew that. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they would not believe me. So I called my GI doctor to make an appointment. They wanted me to get an endoscopy because I'm still very nauseous.
I do not want an invasive endoscopy. I'm going to try the natural pathway first.
And I was very uncomfortable, and my naturopath, I laid down on her table and she tried to manually release it, but it didn't work. I was still very uncomfortable.
My naturopath prescribed some supplements that would help me manage the discomfort. I started taking them right away, but they didn't help, and I was still gasping for air. So I called my naturopath for advice, and I left a message on her voicemail. A few minutes later, I got a text that read, "Whatever is wrong with you is out of my hands. Please call someone else." What? Wait a minute. I'm your patient following your protocol. Oh my God, what am I going to do now? I can't breathe and I can't eat. A person can only go so long without food or air. I got worried about my well-being and the possibility that I could suffocate here alone and die and no one would know. I need someone to sit with me and make sure I'm okay until I figure out what to do about my digestive system. I really don't have anyone in my life that I can call that can come over and sit with me. So I decided to hire a full-time caregiver, but I was in no shape to make phone calls. I had an aunt that knew about my nightmare ER trip, so I sent her a text that read, "Can you help me find a caregiver? I need one right away or I'm not going to make it."
A few minutes later, she called me. At that point, I was at the kitchen counter with my head on the counter, just like trying to maintain, trying to keep it together. She said, "Okay, I'm going to call this place." And I said, "Okay." And then I can call this place. And I said, "Okay." And she said, "Okay, and then I'll call this place." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "Well, what can I tell them is the issue?" And I said, "Digestion." And she hung up. Now, all cell phone users know the difference between being disconnected in a dead zone and being hung up on. And when she hung up, I was in disbelief. I was just, I just couldn't believe it. Why would a loved one hang up on me when I'm in an emergency situation, gasping for air? So I just was stunned. I was just stunned. I really didn't know what to do next. I was just stunned. So I was just stunned. I was just stunned. I just couldn't believe she would hang up on me. So anyway, I sat there for a minute and said, okay, it's up to me. So I went to my computer. I looked up caregiver. The first company that came up on Google, I called. As soon as they heard me on the phone, they said, oh my God, ma'am, we need to call 911. And I said, no, I'm not going to the ER. And they said, my God, ma'am, I'm coming over right now. The woman was not a caregiver, but she came over right away when she heard me on the phone.
Yes, it was April 2020, right in the middle of the coronavirus. But her concern for me was stronger than her fear of the virus.
The administrator from the caregiver agency was at my house because I was in a really bad state on the floor by then. On the floor, she got me a caregiver right away, came over and stayed with me that night. When the caregiver left that night, I just laid on the floor all night long. I never made it into my bedroom. And the next day, I got on YouTube and looked up how to heal your own hiatal hernia. There were only 2 videos. Only 2. That's it. So the gist is this. You're supposed to drink a bunch of water, fill your stomach up with water, hold your arms above your head, and jump. Right? And then the weight of the water in your stomach is supposed to pull your stomach down through the diaphragm back to where it's supposed to be. The only issue for me was I'm in a wheelchair. I can't jump. So I drank a bunch of water and I pushed myself up on my wheelchair and boom. Did that a few times. It's very hard to hold your arms up and push yourself up, boom, into my wheelchair. And so I just got a little bit of it out, half of it out. And I know that because I let out a huge burp. A huge burp. Burp. And I could feel it release a little bit. There's still something stuck there though. Something else is pinned because my blood pressure is raised and I feel like crying all the time. And that's not like me, and I can feel it. Something else is pinched there. And when I lay down, those symptoms go away. So something is pinched there. I finally got in to the endoscopy like a month and a half later. Whew, thank God I was able to release that hernia. And they did the endoscopy and confirmed that there was no longer a hernia, but they don't know what's making me throw up. So see the follow-up video. My tip in this video is to just hang on to your truth, be true to yourself, and know that all is good and we're gonna figure this out and I'm gonna be okay. Thank you for watching.